everybody, this is lesson 1.6, Research Ethics. This is the last lesson for this unit. And it's kind of a very fascinating thing to end on, right? Because when we conduct research, we have to think about ethical issues with both animals and human subjects. And what is that? And how has that completely changed over the last few years, even with what we consider ethical or unethical when it comes to the treatment of individuals? Okay, so this little creature right here in the center of your screen is actually a sea slug. And sea slugs are shockingly important to psychological research because of their nervous systems. Their nervous systems are very similar to humans, but they're much more basic, so we can get an idea for how it functions. In addition to having similar nervous systems, animals in general have similarities with humans in the way they learn and learning behavior. So these are some of the reasons why we use animals in research, but just because we use animals in research doesn't mean that we don't have to still follow ethical guidelines. And the APA has set ethical guidelines, and again, the APA is the American Psychiatric Association, and they have really two basic guidelines that people have to follow whenever they're conducting research on animals. And the first is that we have to have humane care and healthful conditions and we have to minimize discomfort. Oh, sorry. So if we're doing a study on mice or rats, we have to make sure that they're still getting fed and get water as needed and make sure their cages are still clean and minimize any discomfort that they may be feeling to try to provide the best conditions possible for that research. So humans in research create a much more complex when we talk about ethics. There's a few more guidelines compared to animals that we need to follow. And the first of those is you have to get informed consent. So they have to know that they are participating in this study. And if they are under 18, you have to get parental consent as well. So you can't just study somebody without knowing that they're being studied. Now, there is one way to change that. If you are doing a naturalistic observation on people, then you can study them without their informed consent if they are in a public place, but you do have to provide debriefing after the experiment is over. And this isn't any experiment. After it's over and after the study is done, you do need to debrief participants so that they know what the study was actually about or what exactly you were looking for. You also have to protect them from harm and discomfort. So you can't do anything that could potentially cause them physical harm or discomfort. You also have to follow confidentiality. You cannot release their information if they participated in this study without getting informed consent or debriefing them first, but still you need to protect individuals in a study. What I have here is the Stanford prison experiment that was conducted in 1971 by a psychologist named Philip Zimbardo, and we're going to talk about this. You'll actually have a chance on your own to watch part of this experiment. It is all video. But after it was all said and done, Zimbardo reflects on it years later and says that he did not follow the rules of ethics and didn't realize it at the time, but after reflecting on it years later, realized that he put those people in harm and discomfort and did so and didn't prevent that from happening. And so looking at his reflection of that study is also important. And I think it's important to look at now when we talk about ethics is that it is so important to have our studies and research reviewed to ensure that we are, following ethics, because sometimes when we are conducting an experiment, we may not realize what we are doing or what we're putting people through. So it is a very important part of psychology research.